Hey everyone, welcome to another top 10 list. Just when you thought it was safe to get back in the water. I continued writing down ideas for my previous top 10/40 list. And, well, here we go again. My original idea was to do a top 10 list of ways to collect. 40 ways later, I am still jotting down ideas. In fact, I've come up with at least 30 more. So, what we are going to do now is another top 10 ways to collect. These will be numbers 40 through 50. Yeah, there's almost as many different ways to collect as there are things to collect. And once again, if any of these videos are helping you get ideas on what to collect or how to collect or things you should be looking for, well, that's the whole point of these. So let's kick off these. Remember, no particular order on any of these. These are just the next 10 ideas that I had. So let's get into it. Number 1 this week, we are going with the obligations. You can collect notes based on the obligation. What's the obligation? This is the obligation. This is what it says on most of our bills right now. Well, this one here says, this certificate is a legal tender for all debts, public and private. And let's see, the current obligation is right here. This note is legal tender for all debts, public and private. By the way, Dennis, thank you very much for that note. Dennis got me this one. It's a trinary, and it's got, what is it, 5 zeros on there? It's pretty cool. Anyway, he got me that for my birthday, as well as some other stuff. But we're talking about the obligation. So this note has the same obligation as we currently have. The certificate is legal tender for all debts, public and private, but it didn't always say that. This obligation here, this note is a legal tender for all debts, public and private, and is redeemable in lawful money at the United States Treasury or at the Federal Reserve Bank. Or you've got one like this. This note is a legal tender at its face value for all debts, public and private. Or you can even go way back. Here's 1862. And back then they put the obligation on the back. This note is a legal tender for all debts, public and private, except duties on imports and interest on the public debt, and is receivable in payment of all loans made to the United States. So yeah, the obligation on all of our notes has changed a number of times. This is just a handful of the different obligations you can find, but I'm not here to do your homework. I'm here to give you ideas. So yeah, notes like these with the different obligations, trying to put together all of the different obligations, that is number 1 this week. Number two, I went with signatures. Now, what do I mean? This is a $1 $18.99 silver certificate, and I'm sure you guys are all familiar with it. It's the Black Eagle. This particular one has the signature of Spielman and White. There's Frank White there, and Spielman there. But if you really like this note, there are a number of different signature combinations you can get. Let me show you. I'll bust out the big book, and here we go. There is the Black Eagle. There's the back, and look. There's Lyons and Roberts, Lyons and Treat, Vernon and Treat, Vernon McClung, Napier McClung, Napier Thompson, Parker Burke, Teehee and Burke, Elliott and Burke, Elliott and White, and finally Spielman and White. Those are all different signature combinations for a Black Eagle. That alone could be your own collection. And of course, those signature combinations are available in the regular issue and the star issues. So yeah, you could make an entire collection out of just Black Eagles, going with all the different signature combinations. So yeah, a signature combination collection, that is number 2 this week. Certainly something that a lot of people don't try to attempt. Number 3. We are going with the big book here. This is my collection of current notes. Okay, this is basically, here we go, that's for all the new stuff. It is basically every single Federal Reserve from both Fort Worth and Washington, D.C. for every series going all the way back from today until 1963. That's my big book. I'm trying to find them all in circulation. There are just so many of them in here. Trying to show this, it gets repetitive showing it, but trying to fill the set is not an easy task in any way, shape, or form. But as you can see, there are hundreds of notes that qualify for this set, and I've been doing this for years, and I'm still facing a lot of blank pages in here. But yeah, that's what I mean by current notes. The stuff you can literally find in circulation today. All of these are $1 bills. They haven't changed other than the series, the signature combinations, and of course the Federal Reserves. So that's number 3, my big book, collecting current notes. All right, let's get this out of the way. Number 4, when you collect current notes, you find yourself searching a lot of different straps, and you will end up finding what I call art notes. Let me move this out of the way. These are art notes. Notes that people have drawn on. Are they worth anything? No. But there's George Washington as the Joker. Someone drew hearts and colored them in on this particular note. There's another picture of George. Pretty neat, actually. Somebody did the face paint on George here. Yeah, so these are art notes, and I think it's neat to find these in circulation. No, I don't think they're worth anything, but I do pull them out because I think they're neat. Putting together a collection of art notes like that will definitely be a unique collection. Your friends are definitely not going to have one of these, that's for sure. So yeah, another way to get different. All right, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 5. Number 5 this week, there are a number of stamps that you can find. Any bill that has a stamp on it, I tend to pull out and save just because I think it's interesting. Somebody stamped Fred on this bill. What's this one here? Get a dance from Bailey. All right, Bailey, thank you. Let's see, stamp money out of politics. There's a smiley face. You know, these are all just stamps. Random notes that have been stamped with random sayings. This currency will not be used to pay for the service of trafficked or the otherwise oppressed and exploited. So yeah, there's all kinds of interesting stuff here. I grew hemp. Somebody stamped that on George. What else do we got here? Some of these are funny, some of these not so much. Circulate black dollars in black communities. What else we got? There's a gun stamped on this one. That's kind of interesting. So yeah, you can find notes that have all kinds of interesting stamps on it. Once again, are they worth anything? No. But it is definitely something cool. It's definitely a section of your collection that the average person isn't going to have. That's why I save them. I think they're neat. So that's number 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 6, we're going with varieties. I'm not going to spoil all of these. There are a number of different varieties out there. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I've got 2 examples here. This is a $5 1907 legal tender, and this is a $5 1907 legal tender. The difference right here, public error versus the regular one. If I show you the public error, if you look real close on the back, right here, you can see where it says public, except the U is broken, and it looks like PCB instead of PUB. I hope that comes in nice and clear on here. If I go too far, it won't focus it. In comparison, here is public on this note, and you can see that U is just fine. So that is the regular and the public error. Those 2 notes are always cool to have together. Another variety, I guess you could say, would be this one here, which is a solid star error. That's something you just don't see too often, the solid star. So, of course, people collect star notes, but to have a solid star to go with it, that's pretty cool, too. So that is number 6 this week. Varieties. Number 7, we are going with, what do I have here? Different printers. That's what I've got. For instance, Here is a note printed by the American Banknote Company. It says it right here, American Banknote Company of New York. What else do we got here? This one is printed by at the BEP, Bureau of Engraving and Printing. This is a Giori test note printed on a Giori machine. And then, of course, I've got a Delaware Colonial printed by Benjamin Franklin. All four of these notes were printed with different techniques, different companies. Different companies is the big thing. American Banknote Company, BEP, Giori, and Franklin, of course. So yeah, you can collect notes showcasing the different companies that have produced notes. What is it? That was number 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. Number 8. I know I mentioned currency, but world currency, but this is specifically Canadian currency. Canadian currency to me is pretty fascinating. One, it's so close. It's right up north. Well, I'm in Wisconsin, so that makes it a little easier. But you've got stuff like the Devil's Head. You get stuff like this 1970s note is just amazing. I mean, look at all the different colors, and that's from 1973. That's just incredible. Here's the current $100 bill. Here's their centennial note, 1867 to 1967. What do we got here? The corrected version of the Devil Head, and you guys have all seen the $50 note with the back that is just amazing on it. So yeah, Canada has a huge variety of notes that are highly collectible here in the States just because of how fascinating some of their stuff is. So yeah, don't be afraid to collect Canadian notes. I've got more than that. I just pulled out a handful to show you guys there. So that's number 7. Actually, it's number 8. Number 9 this week, I have notes depicting historical people. Here is a note featuring Lewis and Clark. Let's see. You guys are going to ask what historical people are on this note? Well, I will tell you. Right back here, we've got Samuel Fulton and Samuel Morris and Robert Fulton. Robert Fulton, Samuel Morris. There is Martha Washington. And that, we all know who this is, but that is Christopher Columbus, with Land in Sight is part of the name of the vignette there. So yeah, you can find notes and collect notes based on what historical figures are actually on the notes. So that's another cool route to go. And finally this week, I've got number 10. These notes are all one-sided. If you look at the back, no printing at all on the back. That's the $10,000 bill. That was a $10,000 certificate, I should say. This looks like a normal note, except it's an error. There was no printing on the back. Here is from Detroit, and of course, it is only one-sided as well. You can see right through that note. And here's a Confederate States of America $500 bill, also just printed on one side. So collecting notes that are strictly printed on one side is another route you can go. All right, guys, that's 10 more ideas on how to collect or what to collect. If you learned anything new this week, go ahead and hit that like button. If you like what you see and you want to see more, please subscribe. Love reading all your comments. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.